Myself Satish Thalange, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, Solapur. In today's session, we are going to see regarding the material and the material management. At the end of the session, the learner, or you can say the observer, will be able to understand the material management, its object and the function. Along with that, he is going to know regarding the purchasing in which the R principles are being used for the overall the purchasing purpose. The content of today's session is the material and the material management, along with the functions of the material management team. Object of material management team has to be known properly, which will help us to know the exactly what are the stages which we have to go for the overall material management. Along with that, the scope of material management has to be known. And as I said, the purchasing, the first page, or you can say it's the first stage of the material selection and its overall storing as well as its management. For that, we have to go with the 5R principles. Let us start regarding the materials and the material management. Materials is a physically available and are used as an input like raw material, semi-finished materials, consumable materials as well as the space, etc., which are used to get the finished product. The material management is the planning, acquiring, processing on the particular material to get down the finished product, and finally it has to be distributed to the overall users. Now, what is the exactly we have to do to have the efficient management of the material? For that, the object is what? For the maximizing the productivity as well as to add the profit to the organization, that the wastage has to be avoided. As we minimize the wastage of the material, 100% it will increase the productivity, and finally it is going to contribute to the profit of the organization. The functions of material management. Following are the functions of the material management team: material planning and searching of the source, purchasing and the transportation, storing, controlling the inventory, trying to minimize the wastage of material, and also the disposal of the scrap material and to get the salvage value from that. The overall, the following process has to be carried properly. See, the searching of the overall the source to get down the material, that has to be done at the planning stage only, and that purchased material has to be have the overall proper transportation, which is going to be contributing for the overall the profit of the company, because during transportation the wastage or the damage to the raw material or the semi-finished material has to be there, that has to be avoided, and its storing is much more important. Finally, when we go for the storing or when we go for the stocking purpose, at that time we have to be aware about what exactly the quantity of the raw material or the semi-finished materials are with them, and that's why the inventory control is much more important. Coming to that, as I said, the minimizing of the wastage of material much more, because we have to train the overall the persons from the initial stage only, from the stage of planning to the up till the storing purpose, up till the along with the overall the controlling. So whatever the material is left, that has to be disposal is much more important. In such a case, we have to try to get at least the salvage value of the material. So the final intention is to provide predetermined service to the customer at the minimum cost. That can be achieved only when the proper function of the material management is being carried by the team at the required stages. Now, object of material management. First, buying at the right price with the overall the right quality and the service, that is much more important. Once you have purchased the material with the right price and the right quality and the right quantity from the supplier, it has to be done the overall the observation regarding the inventory control. Why we have to go? Because reduce the excess storage, which will help us to uh, unwanted blocking of the amount, or you can say liquidity of the company. Carrying cost, reduce the inventory loss. The object is what? Maintaining the continuity of the supply, and there should not be the breakage of the flow of material for the overall process. And maintaining the specified material quality level and the consistency of the quality, that is much more important. That will be the object of each and individual organization, and to keep alert along with the overall the quality related the process, so that there should be the continuous quality check, and that will increase your productivity, as well as it will increase your the name and fame. Along with that, to keep the alternate source of supply to promote the competitive atmosphere in the performance and the pricing. Minimizing the overall cost of the acquisition by improving the efficiency of operation and the process. Here the procedure is much more important for that. The overall the intention of the, or you can say object of material management means nothing else to have the overall the team with the overall well trained, and they have to be motivated regularly, they have to be trained, and the maintaining good supplier relation is the much more important, because finally whenever there is a need of the raw material or the semi finished material, in such a case there should be the proper relationship and get the material on time, as well as they will have the communication which will help us to make the forecasting what exactly the price will be there in the coming future, and which is going to help us to minimize the unwanted extra payment for the respective raw material, which by purchasing at the present stage. That it will be only known to us only when the supply, when we have the good bond and the relationship with the suppliers. So finally, once we get the material, there has to be a proper record keeping and the control, that is the inventory control. So here the overall object is to have the wastage and the optimum utilization, or you can say maximum utilization of material to get down the productivity and to have the profit. Now the scope of material management. The scope of material management includes the material planning, exactly what material is required, that has to be known to us, and once the material planning is when done, we have to give the proper coding to them, and standardization, scheduling of the overall purchasing of material or reordering. And once we go for the proper scheduling, we have to go for the procurement. In the procurement, once the material reaches to your door, we have to go for the inspection of what? Inspection of the quality, quantity, which is much more important. Finally, there is a need of what? There is a need of the continuous observation regarding the overall the quality of the raw material or the semi finished material, or finally the finished product also. Once we have come to the stage of the finished product, we have to go for the proper packing and the storing, which is much more important, because there we need to have the overall the inventory control that has been started, that has to be seen properly, because the proper distribution along with the avoiding of the wastage and the distribution on the time are much more important. So finally, whatever the left material has been there, that has to be disposed, or you can say that has to be, you have the salvage value at the end of the overall the stage. Now purchasing and its 5R principles. Purchasing is the first page of material management, in which the most important is what? The overall the selection of the material up till the overall the finished product. So purchasing means what? Procurement of the goods and the services from the external agencies. The object of purchasing department is what? Procurement of the material, supply of the machineries and tools to get down the processing, and provide the services required for the equipment maintenance and the overall operation of the manufacturing unit. What are the principles of the purchasing? There is the 5R principles which are continuously used by the purchasing department. What are they? First one is the right quality with the right quantity at right price from the right source, or you can say place, at right time. If we follow this 5R, then there will not be the cut down or the breakdown in the overall the processing and the supply or the distribution of the product, because at right quality, which will help us to get the more productivity without wastage of the overall material, raw material, in the right quantity, that is much more important, because according to the need we have to see at right price. So the price will again help us to make the overall the saving of the amount, which will help us to contribute to the profit to the of our company at right place. So these are the references for the today's session. Thank you.